Kamalam Shiram Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sarajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Saganalita Shivashakam Vitam He Krishna Karuna Sinudina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Goprakanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangirandi Vrindavanashri Vishabhana Sutadevi Pranamama Haripriya Vankha Kalpta Visha Kripasn Visha Patnam Pavanabhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Madhamini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani. Nirvishesha Srinyavad Paskachai Desatarani. Srila Prabhupada Ki. So I'm very happy to be with you, all of you, in ISKCON Montreal, but I feel a bit embarrassed because I feel not qualified to glorify Srila Prabhupada. And I feel also that it's more important for you today to hear from those who had direct experience with Srila Prabhupada. Gokulananda Prabhu is there, and Samir Prabhu and so on. But because you asked me, I will try to say something glorifying Srila Prabhupada. First I want to start with the prophecy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This prophecy, which is in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya Lila 4, chapter 4, text 126. This prediction, this prophecy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussed many times by Srila Prabhupada with Dr. L.B. Kapoor. And so this verse is Priti Vite Ache Yata Nagarati Gram Sarvatra Pachar Haibe Moranam. In every town and village the chanting of my name will be heard. That Chaitanya Bhagavat. So Lord Chaitanya is Patita Pavan. He made this prediction that he made this prediction out of mercy. We all know who is that person who spread the holy name in every town and village all over the world. Of course, there's also, this is mentioned in the Chaitanya Mangal, that from Lochandas Thakur. There, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu explained to Narada Muni his mission for Kali Yuga. Ebe nama sankirtan karta tikshalana Antara Asura Chivera Felibakariya. Taking the sharp word, taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, the Nam Sankirtan, I will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality in the hearts of the conditioned souls. Then Yadi Pabichati Dharma Dura Deshe Jaya Mora Senapati Bhakta Jaibe Tataya. And if some sinful people escape and giving up religious principles go to far-off countries, then my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. So Senapati means a field commander and Bhakta a devotee. So, yes, Lord Chaitanya empowers Srila Prabhupada to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. He's obviously speaking about Srila Prabhupada. So, Srila Prabhupada appeared in 1896, the day after Janmashtami. The day today, it's 125 years ago, if I can count properly. So, I want now first to read a few paragraphs from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita about the appearance of Srila Prabhupada. So it was Janmashtami, the annual celebration of the advent of Lord Krishna. Some 5,000 years ago, residents of Calcutta, so Krishna, his advent was about 5,000 years ago. Residents of Calcutta, mostly Bengalis and other Indians, but also Muslims and even British, were observing the festive day, moving here and there to the city streets to visit the temples of Lord Krishna. Devout Vaishnavas fasting until midnight chanted Hare Krishna and heard about the birth and activities of Lord Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam. They continued fasting, chanting and worshipping throughout the night. The next day, in a little house in Tollygunj suburb of Calcutta, a male child was born. Since he was born on Nandotsava, the day Krishna's father Nanda Maharaj had observed a festival in honor of Krishna's birth, the boy's uncle called him Nandulal. But his father Gorman De and his mother Rajani named him Abhay Charan. One who is fearless, having taken shelter of Lord Krishna's lotus feet. In accordance with Bengali tradition, the mother had gone to the home of her parents for the delivery. And so it was that on the bank of the Adi Ganga, a few miles from his father's home, in a small two-room mud-walled house with a tiled roof underneath a jackfruit tree, Abhay Charan was born. A few days later, Abhay returned to his parents to their home at 151 Harrison Road. An astrologer did a horoscope for the child, and the family was made jubilant by the auspicious reading. The astrologer made a specific prediction. When this child reached the age of 70, he would cross the ocean, become a great exponent of religion, and open 108 temples. Srila Prabhupada said that also that it's rare that you find a good astrologer, very rare, but this is a good one because it happened exactly as he predicted, that So that his father, that's yeah, his father was a cloth merchant, Karl Monday, and yeah, he was he was working from in the afternoon from 2 to 10 in the evening. In the evening, when he closed his shop, he put a bowl of rice in the middle of of yeah the shop, just for the mouse and rats, that, so that they could eat, and then they would not eat the cloth. That so Karl Mohanty was pure Vaishnav, and when he came home at 10, then he would start his puja. He would do puja, and Srila Prabhupada as a child, he was hearing the arti and supposed to sleep, but he went to see how his father, many times how his father was bowing down before the deity, and how he was doing his puja, or when he was in bed, he was hearing this ding, ding, ding from the bell, and yeah. So he was from birth practically in a devotional atmosphere. Now that Srila Prabhupada is our founder Acharya, but there are many reasons to say why Srila Prabhupada is special. But he is special also because he received the cooperation from the previous acharyas. There was a line of cooperation. Srila Prabhupada many times said, everything happens as the mercy, as by the mercy of my spiritual master. That he said in America in the beginning, you all girls and boys have been sent by my Guru Maharaj to help me in his mission. It's always the hand of his spiritual master. But there is a line of cooperation. Srila Bhakti Vinod and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj has prepared for the mission of Srila Prabhupada. And so I want to show that in different ways, that my Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he emphasized, because he gave lectures on the previous acharyas, and he emphasized always it's Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur who revived the tradition, that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur revived the tradition. Chaitanya Charitamrita was lost, but he found a copy and he printed it and printed so many books. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj continued printing and distributed Chaitanya Vaishnavism all over India. We must be aware that in the time of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, after he started really to practice Krishna consciousness, after being in touch with the Chaitanya Vaishnavas, which he met in Orissa, because there he came in contact with the Chaitanya Charitamrita and so on. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur at that time, that Chaitanya Vaishnavism was nearly finished, that there were many Apasampradayas, but the pure teachings did practically not survive. And he revived the tradition. That was Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he distributed Chaitanya Vaishnavism all over India. And it was Srila Prabhupada who spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. So the cooperation in preparing for Srila Prabhupada's mission to the previous acharyas is a part of Lord Krishna's plan. And that makes Srila Prabhupada special. In some sense, he was served by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. They provided everything he needed for his mission. And it starts really, of course, Lord Chaitanya, it was his desire to spread it all over the world in every town and village. We heard the prediction. But also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had this desire that to present Krishna consciousness in the English-speaking world. But of course, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very special. He was familiar with the British colonial culture, but also he was familiar with the expressions of the English speaking world, especially the Christian faith. So he knew how to present Chaitanya Vaishnavism in a way understandable to the English world. But we have his desire to spread it all over the world. That was also in Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because he wrote his little booklet, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his life and precepts. And that is very significant. It was on August 20 of the year 1896, that's exactly the year Srila Prabhupada was born. That year he sent copies of this 60 pages booklet all over the world, and he sent several copies also to universities, which reached also the bookshelves of McGill University in Montreal and a university in Australia and the Royal Asiatic Society in London. So it was a desire of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and that same desire was there in Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. That he also wanted to spread this Krishna consciousness beyond the borders of India by sending sannyasis, his sannyas disciple Swami Bon Maharaj, and with two assistants. That was in April 1933. And they went to Nazi Germany and to England. Of course, Bon Maharaj, he met in London very influential people, such as Lord Zetland, who has been the governor for two years for Bengal and so on. And he made a favorable impression, but he was unable to make disciples. Why? Because the time of Krishna's plan was not come yet to spread Krishna consciousness in these countries. It was reserved for Prabhupada. Of course, Bon Maharaj, he met one devotee, Ert Schulze, from Germany, and he wrote a book which was translated in German by Ert Schulze. The title was Gedanken über der Hinduism, so considerations about Hinduism. But then when this book, he presented his book, and there were the Nazis found out that it was incompatible with their racial theory of National Socialism, and Schulze and Bon Maharaj had to flee Nazi Germany and went via London back to Calcutta. So that is one aspect. That's the desire of our previous acharyas, and Srila Prabhupada really fulfilled that desire. But not only did he fulfill that desire, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj prepared for his mission, facilitated his mission. And there is one way which is interesting to see how they facilitated Srila Prabhupada's mission. I'm telling all this to make us more deeply aware of the position of Srila Prabhupada as seen by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. Like that Bhaktivinoda Thakur was asked to speak at a large meeting in Baligai, Uddhavapur, to discuss two issues. The Brahmins there had asked him to speak, but these two issues were: the first, whether or not it was permissible for non-hereditary Brahmins not born in Brahmin families, whether they can worship Vishnu in the form of the Salagram Shila. And the second is whether they, if one is not born in a Brahmin family, can they act as gurus and initiate members of other castes. But Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was ill, and he requested Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, his son, you go, he said. And at the meeting, there Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj started to praise the Brahmins. And he cited verses asserting, after praising the Brahmins, of course they became very happy, but then he started to say, Kala Sudra Sambhava, in Kali Yuga everyone is born Sudra. So the Brahmins today who are born in Brahmin families are no better than Sudras. And he quoted examples from the scriptures where members of other castes were initiated as Brahmins, provided that they were acting as Brahmins, had the qualities of Brahmins. And these qualities, he explained, are control of the mind, austerity, purity, satisfaction, patience, honesty, knowledge, compassion, truthfulness, and surrender to the Lord. So he explained this Brahmanical state is a position reached by qualification and not by birth. And he quoted Bhagavatam 7:11-35, where Narada Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj explains the position of a Brahman, and he said, yes, one is Brahman, or one belongs to any caste, Brahma, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Sudra, if they have the systems, the symptoms. But of course, it was an impressive presentation, and the audience was very enthusiastic, but not these caste Brahmins. And a conflict was born between these Smarta Brahmins, who think they are Brahmins by birth, and only they can be Brahmins, between them and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati. So that was in 1911. But then in 1925, that's 14 years later, the Smarta Brahmins had not forgot. And the conflict flared up again when Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj organized a pilgrimage to Mayapur, and many of his followers came, and the Smarta Brahmins hired ruffians to throw bricks to them and so on. And they also tried to murder Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj. Especially when the conflict also became more intense from the moment Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj started to give Brahminical initiation to those who were not from the Brahmin caste, from Sudras, if they had the qualities, he was initiating them. And that was new, never heard before in the recent history of Hinduism. That was unheard at that time in India. But that opened the door for Srila Prabhupada to give Brahminical initiation to Westerners. So by that's a way they supported Prabhupada. He had to go to the West and initiate Westerners. And then of course, not only gave them Srila Prabhupada the books, of course Srila Prabhupada had to translate all the books in English. It was a big endeavor. That was his great contribution. But the system of printing books and distributing them, that was initiated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Maharaj, who stressed it very much. If you ever have money, he said, print books. That was Srila Prabhupada's priority. But he did not only get the books. We know that when Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was in Orissa, then he was organizing also the Namahata system. It's a preaching system. He applied that from practically the beginning, because he was giving lectures. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Gaura Kishore Das Babaji would hear the lectures, He would first have kirtan, lecture, prasad. And that's the system that Srila Prabhupada also introduced in his preaching. Our morning program is the same thing. We have kirtan, class, and then prasad. And that's the Namahata style of preaching which he organized when he was in Orissa, in Jagannath Puri. And yes, he was, because Namahata means the holy name in your home. And by that he established many local preaching centers, just inspiring local Vaishnavas to hold regular gatherings in their house and invite people to chant Hare Krishna and hear the Vaishnava scriptures and receive prasadam. That was Bhaktivinoda's strategy, and that was applied by Srila Prabhupada also. So they gave Srila Prabhupada, first they had a desire to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. They gave him the books. They gave him the example to initiate those who are qualified and give them Brahminical initiation. Was started by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And then the preaching strategies. So what an exemplary cooperation which is going through the Guru Parampara. But it was finally to Srila Prabhupada to put it all together and spread it all over the world to fulfill the benediction of Srila of Lord Chaitanya. So that makes also Srila Prabhupada very special. It is historically a cooperation which at the end was all meant to support Prabhupada and spread it all over the world. And he was clearly empowered to do that. That Srila Prabhupada, he was pure from his youth. When a reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, she became later a devotee. She was initiated by Prabhupada, this reporter, but she asked Prabhupada that from what age were you Krishna conscious? And he said from age of 5 that since then he never forgot Krishna. That of course before he was also clearly Krishna conscious, because the house of his parents was not far from the Mullik's temple, which was very close by. And Srila Prabhupada, many times he was brought to this temple and he would stay for hours gazing at the deities of Radha Govinda. A small child, completely silent, gazing, absorbed in the beauty of the deities for a long time. That is very exceptional. In 1996, Bhakti Charu Maharaj brought us to this Mullik's temple, and we have seen the beauty of Radha Govinda in the temple, and the beautiful temple there. That was very nice to see that also when Srila Prabhupada was very young, then a few years old, and his father organized. He built a replica, a small replica of the Radkaart in Jagannath-puri. And Rajarani, Srila Prabhupada's mother, was cooking prasad, and with the children they had Ratha Yatra in the street. That Srila Prabhupada, by that, he was, Ratha Yatra was in his heart since his childhood. And so he also brought the Ratha Yatra festival to the entire world, in all big cities. It's amazing that so this Ratha Yatra, that Srila Prabhupada, yes, this is his youth, that many more indications about the purity of Srila Prabhupada. He was clearly sent from the spiritual world by Lord Krishna, by the Spirit, to print, to translate the books and so on, and to fulfill this prophecy of Lord Chaitanya. That so that makes Srila Prabhupada a very, very special. And that someone, once Srila Prabhupada said, yes, you have to be very careful, because you can fall down, but I will not fall down. When Srila Prabhupada said that, then after the class he was going before the deities, and he was praying to the deities, and one devotee asked Prabhupada, what are you praying for? He said, I'm praying to the Lord to please to let not me fall down. And that is why I'm not falling down, because I'm always praying to the Lord to please do not let me fall down. But on another occasion, Srila Prabhupada said yes, because someone asked him, did you see God? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes, I'm seeing him every moment. The disciple was explaining to the person who asked the question, yes, a pure devotee sees everything as the energy of God, and therefore he sees God in everything. And Srila Prabhupada corrected, and he said, no, I see Krishna every moment, in person. So that is Prabhupada. And today is his appearance day, that whatever spiritual advancement we have made is all because of Srila Prabhupada. Today is a special day to pray for his mercy, that he may help us to further make spiritual advancement, and that we become what he wants us to become, pure devotees of Krishna. So, thank you very much. That is what I could say on Srila Prabhupada. Any comments, please?
very, very much, Maharaj. This
Prananda
is
Prabhu. Thank you. Maya base
very,
Prabhu.
very uplifting and reassuring to see that Prabhupada's legacy has produced such first-class devotees like yourself, because you seem also to comprehend the full significance of Prabhupada's appearance in this world. He was definitely sent by Krishna, and he was nurtured or connected to Lord Chaitanya through the devotional achievements of Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. So definitely Prabhupada was chosen by Lord Chaitanya to continue that same miraculous work of spreading the Sankirtan movement on a scale that is still going on.
Right.
And I appreciated that you put it in very nice historical perspective, how this was all a great plan prepared by Krishna and especially his incarnation as Lord Chaitanya to find the right souls with the right type of empowerment to do these miraculous achievements. And so that's our legacy, and it's a very amazing, thing to be part of Prabhupada's family. We can never uh, fully appreciate how great is our good fortune, eh? But your realizations have helped us a lot, and your example as a dedicated, follower and first class preacher, Anyway, it's always inspiring to hear the realizations of sincere followers of Prabhupada. That's the great benefit of being in this wonderful ISKCON Sangha. So thank you again.
I
Very
try
nice.
my best.
Thank you.
By all your mercy and the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki.